Hi, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain Exchange. And I'm here to help those of you that are learning how to China paint, learn some basics for painting, and also to encourage those of you that have been painting a while to paint along with us and try some of the projects that I'm working on with people right now. Today we're going to finish our bunny plate. And so I have the first fire on. This is the first fire for my bunny plate, and I'm real pleased with it. So hopefully we'll get it done today. I found on the first one that I did, I always do 2 of everything, that it did take me an extra fire to put in a little more depth. So you may, well, I'll show you what to do today, but then again, you may want to change things up, add another fire to it. I have studies on my Paint and Porcelain site, but I probably have 3.5 to 4 years of studies out there. So if you're interested in purchasing a study, you just go to paintandporcelain.com, you search, you'll get the studies that you want, or you can just go through all the studies and see what's out there. They're $5 a piece. You go through the purchase process. They come to you as an email with a download, and you will be charged for the studies. Like I said, $5 a piece. Okay, colors for today. Pretty much the same as last time. The only thing I really changed out, and I'll go through them, but the only thing I changed out was Pompadour. On the second fire, Pompadour is kind of lackluster. It doesn't have any sparkle to it. It doesn't have any life to it to me. And so I've changed it to Carnation, which for me is a very bright, cheerful red. It doesn't fire out either. Yellow red would also work if you wanted to just add a little oomph to the flowers, but you see how they fired on the first fire, the little tulips and things? I would like them a little more red, and so that's why I switched to Carnation. So the colors we have are, this is Carnation, this is Egg, this is Gray-Green, I have Gray for Flowers. You can use a warm brown gray instead of the gray for flowers. Here, let me get a little closer for you. I have Shading Green, Black, Gillyflower Brown, which is the same as Rich Brown, Nut Brown, which is a really pretty brown. See how that is? I like that a lot. For animals especially. This is a Royal Purple for the flowers. I have Cool Shadow or Baby Blue you could use. South Brown, because I wanted the pot to look a little bit like a clay pot. This is Moss Green. I have Copenhagen Gray down here, Dove Gray, and Warm Brown Gray. And see, Warm Brown Gray and up here, the flowers, see how they're very similar? The gray for flowers is just a little darker. Okay, and for the brushes that we're going to use, I'm using my fur brush, which is also called the Scharf, S-C-H, A-R-F-F Texture-It, T-E-X-T-U-R-E -I-T. And it's from France. This brush, Nancy gave it to me, one of my good friends, and I love it. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been an eye-opener, and it works so well for these fuzzy, cute little animals. Okay, I'm also going to be using a round Princeton brush. This is it's actually a watercolor brush, but it keeps the super fine point on it, and I love that about it. I'm using my Scharf 1/4 inch. I use that a lot, practically wearing out the edges on it, but luckily because it's synthetic, it doesn't wear down quite as quickly. And then I have a Dresden brush. I have no idea what size it is. It's kind of a long, skinny brush, and it works well because it keeps kind of a point on it. And if that doesn't work, I have a scroller. So, those are the brushes I'm using. All right, this is a Bavarian plate. Like I said, I think the key to painting well is to use good brushes and good china, if you can come across it. It's not easy to come by these days. So I'm going to be using good brushes and good china. And I'm going to start by just dipping my my Texture-It brush in maybe a full load of the warm brown gray here, warm brown gray, and a side load of the gillyflower brown or your rich brown if you have it. And we're going to start with this little guy, and this time we're adding a little depth. So a little more gillyflower brown, and have it come up about 2/3 of the way on the brush will make a difference, because you want it to give you a little more texture. See how it does? I love this brush. I love this brush. So I'm just using a side load of it. And there we go. Now you can experiment by making it darker or lighter as you go along to see which one you prefer. You're just tapping it, quite frankly. You're just tapping it. Now, you know, if don't go too dark. If you think you like it dark and then you go too dark, you're not going to be happy with it. So you can always do another fire and do exactly what I'm doing now and just make it a little darker on the next fire. And we're just going to go around the little collar fur there and then up in here. It's very simple. This is why this is a great beginner plate. And the one thing I really like about this as a beginner plate is you can use it on Easter on your table, and everybody will go, ooh, ah, oops, hang on, I got too much there. If you get too much paint on, just dab a little and it will come off. And I think you will see that as we go through here. Here we go. There are two little paws on the ground, but one of them is covered by the violet. So, okay, now here I'm going to go around like this. And see, you do want to go kind of back and forth and up and down with the as you dot it around, because the fur is very cute and kind of cuddly, and it's a little bit everywhere. So you want to kind of pull it around as you go. Experiment. If it gets too dark in one spot, you can always take it off. That's not a problem. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the nut brown with the side load of the Jilly brown and do down in here. He's an adorable rabbit. Okay, then I'm going to take my nut brown side load and Jilly brown, and we're going to do his ears. So this ear is all brown. Bring it down to the head. I kind of was a little bit above the head there. You want to bring it down to the head because it's a good one to do, and it's easy enough to do. And then flip it over and come back the other direction, and that will give you your automatic highlight there. Leaving a highlight even on the fur is important. You do want the highlight on the fur. And here I'll start going up this way. Let me go up this way like this. Okay. Now, you know, I whip these off when we're doing this, and that's because it's the second time I've done it. But the original that I do takes me about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours to do the original. So when I do my first one, I really take my time and do it right. So if I'm moving a little fast, then just watch this time and then go back in and do it your way and take your time on it. This is the carnation. See how it kind of brightens up the pink on his ears there and here. I want a little carnation up there and a little carnation. Oops, I need a little more. Let me show you. I'm just touching the carnation like this, and that's it. You don't want to do it too much. And keep your Q-tips handy, and if you feel that you've got something that you need to clean up a little, then do it, okay? Alrighty, so we have his body done. Okay, now I'm going to work on his little bib. It's his little white fur there. See, now I'm using a warm brown gray and just kind of going under there, just a little bit. I just want to give it a little bit of color. I don't want it all to be white. See how that works? I think I'm going to take a little warm, a little jelly brown, and just cut in here a little. You know, you can shape things if you think they're too, like I think here it could use a little more color here. Oops. You see the lines there? We don't want the lines. We want it to be like that. There we go. Use your finger. Your finger is a good tool, especially when you're doing this kind of thing. Okay, and I'm going to put a little dark, oops, a little dark under here too. Okay. Now let's worry about his nose and his mouth and his eyes. I don't want to leave his eyes like that. That's too brown. Okay, I'm going to make his nose a little pinker, just like that. Just dab, dab. And then I'm going to try this brush first. It's the pointy one that I had that was a Dresden brush. It works pretty well for me. And so I'm going to try that first and just put a little black on it. See if I can do the eye a little better with this one. Sometimes if you change the brush you use, you get a better result. Oops, don't have enough black on there. And then here I'm going to just put a little color on his nose. Redo his mouth a little. Got up there too much. There we go. And I need to put his whiskers in. So I'm going to my liner. Now there are two ways you can do the whiskers. I don't want to do them this way right now because I haven't finished this guy. So I might wait. But you can use regular oil on the whiskers, or you can use just turpentine, kind of wipe it a little bit and then go in the black, and that will also help you. Oops. Now on this guy, I'm going to use a little bit of my Copenhagen Gray full load, side load of Dove Gray, which is kind of a blue gray. And I'm just going to start doing the outer part of his fur. Copenhagen Gray and Gray for Flowers. And I'm just going to kind of go down here. There we go. And now I'm going to do it around his chin. Come back this way. And I'm just lightly tapping it. Now, I'm going to do the same thing this way. And then I'm going to take and wipe out a little bit. Now, I know it's a little overkill. And I'm going to do it around the top here. I'm going to do his face, and then I'll go in and I'll wipe off or use my brush to just tone down where I don't want it. Okay, his ears, I need to do his ears. They're kind of a Copenhagen Gray. And I'm just going to do them. Yeah, I need a little more color on the ears. Let's do it from the base here. There we go. And I need a little more color on this ear. Okay. I always go both directions. I don't know why, but it just seems like it helps it. There we go. And I want to get rid of that line. Did you see that line there? You never want a line if you can help it, because that line is going to turn out. Here's a good example. That grass at the base, it's awful. And the reason it's awful dark is because I put it on too dark and I didn't correct for it. Okay, now I'm going to take my warm brown gray with a side load, and I'm going to give his face some shape. And you just tap down here. And then you kind of tap. I like to separate his face a little bit or give him a little bit of color. So I'm going to put a little color there. And I'm going to put a little color here. And then I'm just going to pull out a little here. There we go. And put a little down by his cheeks. See how that helps to give him a little color? If you're going to do a little bit of color like this, that's a little heavy, so I'm going to wipe off my brush and go back in and pull it out. Wipe off my brush, go back in and pull it out, tap it out. That's how I get rid of the color there if it's too much. Okay, I want a little more here. So you want to give his face a little shape, and so adding a little color back is kind of nice. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to pull it out a little. Okay, and there. Okay, now I'm going to do his ears because his ears need to have a little pink in them. And we're going to use carnation again. And I'm going to pull it down. See how pretty it is? It's very, oh, got black in the brush. It's very pretty. I like the carnation because I think it adds a sharpness to the color that you don't get with the others. And then come all the way up here because I missed the corner there. And then I'll go back and shape it because there we go. Yeah. And I want a little bit of depth here. I'm going to put a little dark here. For some reason, that kind of got out of control there. There we go. And there. Okay. All right. Now let's do his eyes. I'm going to go back to this brush. And I'm going to get the black and see if I can salvage his eyes. This guy needs a little more up here. I wanted a little more black. Okay, and here we're going to do, bunnies have funny eyes. They're kind of almond-y shape. So when you're doing bunnies and you find that they're kind of an almond-shaped eye, just a little bit, just a little bit. There we go. And then here, give the nose a little, and a little there. We got it here. Oop. No. Okay. And then I want to give the nose a little pink. Take my red and just tap it. There we go. Now, I'm going to take my Q-tip and I'm going to give him a little white breast because he does have a white breast. Do you see how that's working? See the difference there? This side is much whiter than that side is. And then as I go over here, okay, and then up here I might wipe out a little white because he is a white bunny. And up here I might wipe out a little white because he is a white bunny. I'm using the side of the Q-tip to do that. And I want a little more on this ear here so we can define it. There we go. Okay. All right, let's put the whiskers in. I'm going to do it with black. Got my pointer. And I'm always leery about this. This doesn't always go the way you want it to. You can practice as much as you want, but it's just a matter of doing it. It's not thin enough. That's what it's telling me. Okay. There. So I'm using just turpentine. And I wipe it on my towel real quickly. And that gives me just enough so that I have my, this is more what I prefer over here. Okay, so this one's a little thick. I'm going to try it with the brush. Much better. And then the brush here. Yep, I like that a lot better. There we go. There we go. I'm just using the brush and tapping on it to get the color down. I'm just going to go and do the background pretty much. Going to go now to my 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to take my Dove Gray and really load it up and just kind of finish off these stones back here. I'm kind of pulling down to give a stone effect back there. There we go. And then I can turn it around and kind of, there we go. And then over on this side, we also have stones, and I want to make sure they go off into nothing. Then I'm going to take and do my violet petals. I use full load of moss with a side load of shading green. And I'm just going to do this. Now remember, these are secondary to the bunnies, so you don't want to make them so detailed that they take away from the bunnies. You might even add a little brown to them if you want, just to give it a little, here. There we go. Give it a little, it didn't work quite the way I wanted it to. There we go. You can always add red too. Red, I think, helps a lot when you're doing. Then here I'm just going to do the center section with the moss green because it's on top. And I'm just going to come around and get the outside edge. They're heart-shaped. And then they have all the veins on them come from the top down. So I'm just sort of indicating that. We've got one more to do over here. This guy's here. See how when I do that one and leave the other one light, how it stays on top? That's kind of what you want. And then do the very edge of it. And then you can draw your veins. Oops, let me move it up a little. Here we go. I think this one needs the veins a little darker. There we go. I'm just using my brush. It works really, really well. Okay, and then I have a couple more up in here. I will come back on the next fire and probably put in a little more depth like this. I don't want to do it all now because then I'll lose it. Okay. And we're going to put the leaves in up here. Those are also the little leaves from the violet. And I'm just sort of hinting at them. I'm not really spending a lot of time doing them. Yeah, because I just want them to sort of be there, but I don't want to take away from what I'm working on, which is the bunnies. Okay, so now I'm going to take my purple, and I'm just going to redo these violets here, just on one side of them. You may have to shape it a little better. There we go. And I have another like violet color up in here. I'm just going to fill that in. And then I'm going to go in, clean my brush really well, and add the yellow. I don't add it on the first fire. Seems like it never really works well on the first fire for me. So I always do it on the second fire. And there's the center. And there's the center. It's not really coming out the way I like it to. The color is too dark, so let me find a brighter yellow that I have here. That was egg. Egg is a little dark, so I'm going to use Trenton Ivory and watch the difference. There we go. Okay. Trenton Ivory. This is Trenton Ivory. Don't put it in your ivories. Put it in your yellows. Trenton Ivory is a yellow. Okay. Oops. Let's move down a little. All right, and now we're going to do the pots and the grass and the the tulips. So I'm taking my brush, doing a side load of the red, and I'm going up here. Oh, let me move down a little. And I'm going to do the red. Now this is my new red, which is my carnation red. I think the carnation red just gives you a little more class. To me, it's so pretty. We'll do the bud over here in a carnation red. See the difference? Very pretty. And these can be very, they don't have to be detailed. You just want them to suggest tulips. And then my yellow ones I'm not real pleased with, so I'm going to go back and add some carnation on them too. Use the tip of your brush, the edge of your brush, to fashion these. And don't fill them in all the way, and they'll look a little bit like the parrot tulips with the multicolor. There we go. And then if you want to get more shape, you can always shape a little better with your I'm going to do the pot. That's a south brown or orange color. Don't be afraid to apply your colors dark. I think it actually makes things look pretty, bright and springy. There we go. And then I'm going to take a little brown and just do under the rim. And you want it to look uneven, so just do it once and leave it. There we go. And there's a little dirt in the pot. I put a little dirt in the pot there. That's better. There we go. Now, you see how some of these grasses are dark and some of them are light? You can control that and sort of even them out on this painting by just using your pointer. Don't like that there. Okay. Alrighty, now I'm going to do my stems. I'm putting a little bit of blue flowers back in here. Doing my stems now. Okay, got my stems done. And now I'm going to do my leaf. I like to do my leaves with my 1/4 inch. It's one of my favorite brushes. I use it for everything. That was too dark. Man, it's too dark too. Here we go. When I put it on and it's too dark, I go back over it, but I go a little more than just where I painted. There we go. I like that. I'm doing moss with a little bit of shading green. This particular arrangement here, this particular painting, I'm doing with a lot of grayed colors intentionally because that's what I like. Yeah, I will probably come through with like a liner like this, add a little brown, and just like here, I like brown to outline with. It's not as harsh as black. I'll give them a little definition to their ears. And then I just kind of dab around, dance around his little face there and around his fur up here. Oops. I don't want to do quite that much. There we go. I might take a little brown and on my brush and outline over here. You can use the brown outline. See, I put little paws on them there. And you can really get a lot of detail if you want to. Okay, now I'm going to take this filbert and I'm just going to put it in oil. And I'm going to use a gray green mixed with a shading green. I think I found that I kind of like that a little better. And I'm just tapping it. All you want to do is indicate, let's see. Okay, all you want to do is indicate that there's grass. Keep it kind of flat. Oops, there. And then over in here too. You can tap it with your finger. Your finger is a great tool. Learn how to use it. Nope, I need a little more here. There we go. Okay, now I've got to sign my name. I do it with the brush. I'm going to take a picture of this before I fire it. And like I said before, if it's something where it's a color change, you can leave it to the next fire. If it's something where it's a shape change, you need to do it on this fire. So decide what it is you need to do. But I'm perfectly happy with this. I think it turned out adorable. Well, pick up those brushes and keep painting. See you next time. Bye-bye.